Let's do it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Creator Town Hall here on Studio Live today. It is Sunday afternoon or evening, or it's Monday morning, depending where you are in the world. Wherever you are, I hope you have had or are having an awesome weekend and that you're ready for a couple of hours of just some laid back, chilled bits of information, your questions, my answers, and also the community, the folks who are here live on YouTube and Facebook. I hope you are doing well. Say g'day in the chat. Let me know where you're from and how you doing, because this is a new show and this is episode number 2. I am flying solo today, but that doesn't mean that we can't have a lot of interaction, because all of you will be providing any of the questions, the comments, and the information to get us ticking along. Thank you for being here. We're going to go into a bunch of stuff here. I've got a heap of topics to talk about. We've got your questions as well. We've got some hidden gems. That's some YouTube channels, some resources that you may not be aware of if you want to get some cool creator-related information. I've got a book club. Yeah, we're kicking off. I'm doing a very mini book review each week. And don't worry, all the books I choose are also audiobooks, because if you're like me, you ain't got no time to read no books, and you can barely, no, I can read, but I just love to listen to audiobooks, so they'll all be on Audible as well. And our midpoint motivation, this week we're talking about why it is so important to understand that everyone starts at zero. We'll be getting to that and a whole lot more over the next couple of hours here. Hello to the folks who are here live. We've got Bluester here, Mr. Stu Cash, Mark's here, we got Kim, we got the Mix Club, we got Johans, hello to you, saw Blueser sneaking in there as well, Bubba sticking your hand up, we got Fiddlement I saw there as well. Thank you everyone for being here. If you do have questions as we go, do throw them in the chat. And today, this show is brought to you by me. Yes, I'm sponsoring myself. It's actually brought to you by the GarageBand Beginner's Guide. Yes, you can check out the GarageBand Beginner's Guide. Just head on over to studiolivetoday.com/courses. There's a link down in the description and pinned here in the chat for just 10 American dollar bucks. You can grab yourself my beginner's guide. It's 5 hours worth of hand-picked videos, fully transcribed, 3 different languages, transcriptions, a fully searchable engine in there. It's pretty darn cool if I do say so myself. And if you're getting started, or you know someone who's just getting started in GarageBand, it could be a great way to fast track that progress. But of course, all of the videos that I create here, and there's a new one every day, are right here on Studio Live today. So make sure that if you are into your home recording and into creating and recording and releasing music, that you're subscribed to the channel if that's your bag. Righty dokie, let's kick on into the first topic that we have here, shall we? And I wanted to talk about this because it's come up a couple of times recently, and I want your opinion on this. So if you're here live or you're watching the replay, feel free to let me know. This is finishing songs. So I was chatting to some folks lately about the importance of finishing songs. And I am one who probably gets a little carried away with exactly how important it is to finish songs. And more recently, I've probably just chilled out a little bit in terms of that, because what I'm hearing from folks is that sometimes the fun in music is just the creativity. The fun is having a noodle. The fun is having a play, and it's not necessarily that you have to finish a song. And I think some people may misconstrue that when I say create, record, release, that I mean that every single thing that you produce needs to result in a finished song that you then upload and you release on Spotify and Apple Music and all the places. Very much not the case. By release, I mean let go. I think the key thing is a lot of people get stuck, and the reason that I went with whole create, record, release movement to begin with is that I saw a lot of people getting frustrated because they had a heap of 25%, 50%, 75%, 95% finished songs that they were just hanging on to. And whether it's perfectionistic tendencies or whether it's just a desire to not finish and to not let go of this thing you're working on because you're having fun with it, folks weren't getting to the point where they were finishing songs. So the whole release is just about letting go. So if you're halfway through a song and you're like, this song's going nowhere, it doesn't mean you always have to guts it out and get to the end, but you do have to release it and let it go and move on to something else. Otherwise, that whole diminishing returns thing, where if you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, you get to the point where you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. It doesn't feel fun anymore. and music is supposed to be fun. So if you're doing anything in life, but especially music, especially something that's supposed to be your hobby, and you're not having fun with it, then maybe you need to reassess that. It doesn't mean you have to stop doing music altogether, but as we say often around here, go and do something else. Play a video game, go for a walk, read a book, do something different. But yeah, you don't have to always finish things, but when you do, or if you're getting to that point, make sure you're letting go. Just release them, get them out there. That's my view anyway. Let me know what you think. And how important is finishing songs? That's the question I'm going to ask you. Do you always finish your songs? Let me know your stories. Let me know your experience here in the chat, and we'll jump in and read some of those as we go along. Andy Dion says, if you love a song, you have to let it go, right? You do. You have to get to that point where it is done. And there's got to be an end point, because if you don't, you're just going to live with it forever. You're going to end up like, who was it, Guns N' Roses that did this, was it Spaghetti Incident? Or one of their albums. No, it was the Chinese Democracy, is that the one? Yeah, so they had an album that took them like 12 years to make because they just couldn't agree, they couldn't get on terms, and they couldn't do the same things, and then they just kept it going. And I don't think it's definitely, it's not 12 times better than if they did it in 1 year, yeah? It's diminishing returns. 80% of the stuff you get done is in 20% of the time. The old 80-20 rule rules supreme as well. Greg Hernandez says there's a great book called Give Yourself the Gift of Done, and also Jeff Tweedy's How to Write One Song and the John Cleese book. Talk about your book club. Hang on, I'm noting these down, Greg, because they could be future book. I might have to read it between now and next week. I like the Give Yourself the Gift of Done. That sounds cool. Give yourself the gift of done. I like that one. And what was it? Jeff Tweedy. I'm going to look that one up. And John Cleese. I do love me some John Cleese. I read his autobiography recently. And by read it, I mean listen to it on Audible. Yeah, judge me all you want. I know some people say it's not reading if you're listening to someone else read it to you. I say polycock. Mostly because I love the word polycock. Because it sounds rude, but it's not really. Yes, I green screened my home. Now we're back to the... look, I did put it out there. I put a question out to folks saying, green screen, yes, green screen, no. 88% of you said you like the green screen. 12% said they didn't. So what I'm going to do? Well, I'm going to do both. So shows where it's relevant to have a green screen. So Your Music Live, I think, is cool to do it. And the happy hour where I can have a bit of fun with it, we're going to do it. The regular shows, we're going to be here in the humble little studio. And today I even have... Wait, Basil. I even have a studio dog. He couldn't decide whether he was in or out, so I had to shut the door, and he decided in. So if there's a scratching at the door halfway through the show, you'll know he needs to go out, and I may have to go and do that. But that's fine. I'll throw a video or something on here, or just do it because hey, it's fun. The joy of live, right? Absolutely. Russ says this year I've work on one track at a time from start to finish before moving on to the next. Yeah, great idea. And that could definitely work. That can definitely work well for some folks. Yeah, Chinese Democracy, Dr. Pepper got them to finish with free soda coupons. Is that real? That would be cool. Positive Autism Rocks, music by the Positive Autism. I have a song wrote last November that my wife said was way too sad, and I couldn't release it during the holidays. Still haven't finished it yet. Okay. Well, yeah. And look, that can be the case. To be honest, I've got a couple of songs that are way too sad. To be really honest, I've written a lot of songs in the last couple of years, and some of them I haven't finished. I've released in that I'm not thinking about them and working on them every day, but I haven't finished them or released them or got them out there because they are too sad as well. And again, the way the world is at the moment, I've been trying to pump out as much happen, apart from my murdering ballad, but that was the exception. But everything else I'm pumping out there is for a little bit of fun for that reason. So yeah, I hear you and I agree with that as well. Let's see. How is everyone? Thank you for being here. Jazz hands all round. Absolutely. Yeah, I like the sound of the gift of done. I'm liking the sound of that more and more. I think that will be my next purchase over at Audible. I need to get an Audible sponsorship. There you go. Audible, if you're listening, you sponsor everyone else. Maybe this show should be sponsored by Audible. We'll see how we go. Tom Rochelle says, I have tons of stubs of things I started. Playing around with that never became a song. And look, I do too. Like, let me show you. Let me show you what I got. Oh, I've got things in the way here. I'll move that out the way. Again, I keep using my mirroring my iPad screen and then not using it for an hour, and then going, oh, where's my iPad screen? I've lost it again. But yeah, don't be afraid. When I say release things, it doesn't mean everything has to be fully finished. And I'll show you my proof here, because if you haven't seen my organization here in on the iPad. In GarageBand. Let's take a look at that now. So if we jump over here, so if we go to my folder structure, if we go to iCloud Drive and we look at my GarageBand folder, you'll notice that, okay, I'm starting to be bad and putting things right in here, but normally when I'm being good, here's my ideas folder, right? So here are all of the bits and pieces. Here's all the parts of songs that never turned into anything. In fact, can I find the one I was just talking about, the one that's too sad? I don't think I can. I can't remember what it's called. I can't even remember the name of it. But yeah, I've got a whole bunch of different songs in here, different ideas and different things. And yeah, there's all things in here that could be used in the future. And whenever I'm stuck, that's the other cool thing. You can come back into here. This one's let's just laugh at Pete for a minute here. Let's open up this track. This is 2016, I think. I reckon this was originally done on my iPhone 4, which is why it's using some old some of the old synths. It doesn't have any alchemy in it, because I don't think there was alchemy back in the day. Let's just use it. We'll test out the sound to make sure this is working, shall we? Oh, listen to that synth. I don't know where it goes. Let's bring it down a bit. Anyway, yeah, sorry, a bit self-indulgent for a minute there. Or when I sing there, but we won't do that. Maybe if you beg me later, I'll play the vocal. It was recorded outside on my phone mic. But yeah, I have a whole bunch of stuff in here exactly the same time, where you've just got little bits and pieces in an ideas folder. And then again, ship them out of here. Don't put them in your in progress. What you'll notice here is my oh, okay. Bad example, because I've also put all these my songs are what I use in my demos. So if we cleaned these up, and we cleaned these up, and we cleaned these up, you'll notice that there's really only that We Will Rise Together and a couple of other little bits that I've used that I need to clean up. But yeah, don't have everything in your in progress folder. And then when you're completed, ship them over to a complete folder. Like, get them out of your face. Otherwise, your brain doesn't know that you're not thinking about them. Here's the thing. Your brain says, oh, I'm always thinking about all the open loops you have. Your brain can't distinguish them from things that it shouldn't be thinking about. It's why you should make lists, or most people should anyway, because your brain can handle 4 or 5 things at once. Why people have calendars, why you have to-do lists, because otherwise every time, if you say have clean your garage, and you know you have to clean your garage or your garage, then every time you walk past that dirty garage, you're going to think about, oh, when am I going to do that? But if you have it on a list, well, get it out of your head. Dump the stuff out of your brain and do that. Hello, Russ Ali. I have probably about 30 songs I haven't finished. The writing is pretty much done, but I'm a perfectionist as a producer. Yep, preach it to the choir here. Absolutely. And that can be tough when you have that perfectionistic tendency. Joe says, just finished a pub song that Barry wrote, but it's sad. Oh, don't you hate that when you're feeling happy and then you write a sad song and you're like, oh, I don't know about it. And there is the beforementioned Barry. You got your first sponsor. Congratulations. Can we get a round of applause for Autism Rocks by music by the Positive Autism? Danny and Micah over there doing great work, and that is cool. That is super cool that you got your first sponsor. Well done, and keep up the good work over there. Hey, Frigsy. Yeah, I know. This show is going to be a bit late for those in Europe and the UK, but remember, the whole thing is replayed infinitum, so you can go and do that. You can go and watch it at any time. Hello to Asa BT, my buddy Asa over there in the US of A. Really haven't been doing much recording recently. I've been interested in musical theatre and movie musicals. Outstanding. Love me some musical theatre. Book of Mormon, my favourite, actually second favourite. My favourite musical of all time is Avenue Q. Love me some Avenue Q, love the Book of Mormon, but also like some of the more traditional kind of musicals. I've always loved musical theatre, and you know Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Don't Tell Anyone, but things like Les Mis and all those sort of things. Yeah, it's just cool. It's really good stuff. Let's see who else we've got. Beat Pete. What are you beating me at? Probably many things. Frigsy says my current release is pretty sad. Didn't do well on Submit Hub. 12% approval. Hit 1,000 streams yesterday on Spotify. Kind of expected a bit more. See, I don't know what Submit Hub is. I need to find out about that. I do. I need to find out. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, you reckon that song's got potential? We'll give it. Maybe that could be the first Righty Doki release. Be kind of nice to use one that I've had from a while back. Let's just see who else we've got here, and if anyone else has any other things. Cool. Hello, Joshua Good. Thanks for being here. I think we saw Danny. I think we've got Desolate Morning in here as well. Yeah, very, very good. Very nicely done there. Huska says, I have lots of guitar and synth riffs and some drums, but nothing fleshed out to try and make more complete song. Any ideas on how I should get back and work them? Time restraints are great, Huska. Some people hate them. I tend to love them. The reason being is that if you give yourself infinite time to complete a task, you will take an infinite amount of time. If you give yourself a set amount of time, it's amazing how the work expands to fill the amount of time you have. Have you ever noticed this? Back in your school days, you have an assignment. It's due in a month. You get it on day one, you're like, I don't have to work on this today. A week in, you're like, I've still got 3 weeks, I'm coasting. 2 weeks in, you're like, I should really probably start thinking about that. Maybe you write a topic sentence and then you walk away. A week to go, you're like, I've still got a week, haven't I? That's a lot of time. You get to the day before and you've done nothing. So what do? You cram it for 4 or 5 hours and you get it done. So you will get stuff done by the time that you need to, unless you don't, unless you just were like me and flunked out of school. But no, I didn't actually. I did very badly at school, but I passed. There you go. But yeah, it just means that if you set yourself what I call a positive time pressure goal, which means within a week, I'm letting go of this. It's got to be in whatever it is then, I'm letting go. And it's gone. And then just say, that's what I'm doing. Then do it. That's why I do the whole Songtember challenge every year. If you're new to the channel, every September, we do Songtember. So on the 1st of September, we all have to sit down and start writing a song. You got to write it, record it, and release it, all within that 30-day window. And the reason that's good is, especially for those who've never released something before, it gives you some positive time pressure, and it gives you the second thing is, which is a little bit of community pressure too. So there you go. Hopefully you participate in Songtember, but you can do your own thing. Do an April-tember. Wait, what? Do a song April. Do an April serenade. I don't know. Do something in April. Or just say by the end of this month, you got, 8 days? Can you get that song finished in 8 days? What do you reckon? Put yourself to the test. See what can happen. Otherwise, yeah, you will give yourself an infinite amount of time. That tends to be the way it goes. Oh, yeah, I love Avenue Q. The internet is for, yeah. You saw Joseph? Yeah, that's another cool. Very, very cool. Lots of good music in that one. Hello, Sean Chandler. I hope you're all having a great time changing my guitar strings. I'm looking over there at Mark Taylor. He desperately needs new strings. I don't want to do it. I hate changing strings. Every single time I somehow manage, all the other strings are fine. The high E string, I always manage to stab it into my finger, and I've always got a very painful finger afterwards. I cannot seem to do the twisting and the tying and that without stabbing myself. It's a pain in the backside. So I play with old crappy strings. Wolfstone Studio, I write the words to my songs last. Sometimes I can knock them out quickly, but sometimes I hit a wall and I put the song away. Yeah, put it away. Put it somewhere. A someday maybe pile is a good thing to have in everything in life. Otherwise, again, your brain thinks you failed and that you're not doing something. But there's nothing wrong with saying, someday maybe I might come back to this. Maybe not, but someday maybe. That's releasing. That, to me, is part of releasing. Mark says, I'll have more time to finish stuff. Lost my part-time job. Oh, no big deal. Okay, that's good. And sold the boat. Captain Mark sold the boat. I can't picture you not nautical. That's cool. As long as you've got your studio now, you've got your pastime there as well. Very cool. Thank you everyone for that and for your information on that. Here you go. So, Friggsy says, Submit Hub. It's a place where you can submit your songs for consideration on non-official Spotify playlists. Depending on curators, it can cost about 50 cents to $1.50 for a curator to listen to it. Interesting. See, I don't know how I feel about that because playlisting, and so many people have been caught out by fake playlisters and fake promotions. I don't know about Submit Hub. Hopefully it's legit. It sounds like it is. But I would be very careful with a lot of with a lot of those sort of things, they just seem to be a little sketchy. And we've seen recently thousands of people had their DistroKid released songs pulled down because they had participated in platforms of engagement that were perhaps non-ethical, or at least in the eyes of Spotify, they were non-ethical, which means that they were using bots to make plays, or they were using listening farms of people being paid low wages to do that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about there, if you go to a service, they might say, hey, you pay us $50 and we'll get you 5,000 Spotify streams. Just don't ask any questions. We'll just do it. Now, you're engaging with that third party, but guess what? They just go and engage another cheaper third party and pay them $10 to create bots and to use these listening farms to get your streams. Spotify finds out. Guess who gets in trouble? Not that middleman that you used, you, because it's your responsibility. So be very, very careful with anyone. If you're buying streams, if you're buying likes, if you're buying followers, you're buying your way into some challenging times, I would say. Oh, can you come and change my strings over here, Dan, please? Hello, Vincent. Thanks for dropping on by. Good to have you here. Alrighty. Yeah, Barry, I use elixirs too because they last longer. I've had these set on for about 3 months and I play daily, so they need to be changed. But yeah, we'll go with it. Let's jump into our next topic, shall we? So thanks for all your feedback on finishing songs. The next topic, and it's related to what we were just talking about. Let's talk about vanity metrics, shall we? How many Spotify streams you got, brah? How many YouTube subscribers? How many Instagram follows? How many TikTok thingies? I don't know. I don't know. What do you have on TikTok? Subscribers? Do you subscribe on TikTok? Follow? I don't know. Anyway, let's talk vanity metrics. What do you think about vanity metrics? Here's my problem with these. They drive the wrong behavior, yeah? They drive people to do the wrong things. Let's bring it to music first, and then we can expand out to other forms of creativity from there. So music vanity metrics are usually things like subscribers or followers on social media, or their streams or plays or purchases on listening platforms. The reason that these can be so toxic and so dangerous is that so many people are chasing these as if they are the measure of success. They're generally not. As we just talked about, they're easily fakeable. They are not necessarily telling you if you're getting quality streams or quality follows or quality people watching or listening to your content. And they drive the sort of behavior where you are basically pushing out content that may be going to the lowest common denominator. What do I mean by that? Well, if you love metal, here's the sad fact. There are not as many people that listen to metal as listen to EDM, R&B, trap beats, all the other genres of music. Singer-songwriters, guess what? We are not as popular as those making pop music. So if I wanted to get the maximum number of streams and I was chasing that Spotify for artist vanity metric of getting the thousands or the millions of streams, should I put my acoustic guitar away and grab the synthesizers and do some big pop anthems? Maybe, if I want to. If that's your why, if that's why you're doing it, to create a business and to be popular. But if you don't want to create that, if that's not the music you like and that's not the music you dig, you're going to get very bored of it very quickly. So that's the number one reason. I think it encourages people to not be true to their own selves and what they want to do and what makes them happy, why they got into creating music in the first place. It tends to promote people doing whatever is popular to get more streams. Now, you might be thinking, oh, you're laying all the blame on the creators. No, I'm laying as much blame on the creators as I am on the platforms themselves. Why? Because guess what? Who's a Spotify user here? Hands up. That weekly email that you get, what's the first thing that you see on that? Congratulations, Pete, you got X number of streams this week. Last week, you got Y number of streams. Work harder, you can get J number of streams. They are very heavily promoting that. Why? Again, because the creators want it. We want it, so they put it out there. It's like reality TV. People are like, why is there so much awful reality TV? Or why do I have to be subjected to Big Brother and Married at First Sight and The Masked Singer? Sorry if you like any of those. If they're your guilty pleasure, you do you, buddy. You go your hardest. But yeah, why do we get this? Because it's demanded, because the public demand it. And that's the same with Spotify. They push it out there. Same with YouTube. They push subscriber numbers so heavily because people value it and people want the subscribers so they can have the vanity metric. And by the way, if you're confused by vanity metric, it means a metric that is not necessarily a tangible benefit to you, your music, your creativity. It is more a vanity metrics for you to flex on other people to show them how good you are at the end of the day. That's my 2 cents on that. But what do you think here? Let's see if we've got any TikTok clocks. Is that what they're called? If they're not, they should be. I want to be a clock. I want to be a TikTok. I want to be a clock. Oh, I'm a clocker. I'm a clocker of that TikToker. Come on. If that's not what it is already, it should be. Yes, and Frigsy definitely think. And look, I've heard of Submit Hub, and I'm pretty sure it is legit. So do, but again, just do be cautious if you've completely not heard of someone, or if it seems too good to be true. Like where you're paying, and yeah, you're paying for a submission, and then maybe you get on there. That's entirely up to you, but be super cautious of any of those pay-to-play places because some of them are completely legit, some of them are taking you for a ride. Cliff Hall says, always start with a wee drink. Yes, absolutely. Agree. I think that's what I do. I normally do it in the afternoons. Grab a cold brew, a nice beer, and then sit down and change strings. Let's see what others have got to say about this. Kim says, it's hard to not get caught up in the views and subscribers. It's like a dopamine hit. I feel like it's a bad thing in the long run. It absolutely is. Yeah, and it is. It's a dopamine hit. It's the same reason that the mobile games have that same dopamine hit. It's like gambling. It's like drinking. It's those small wins. There's a song called Blow Up the Pokies. Pokies are slot machines here in Australia by the Whitlams, and there's a line in that says, all the little victories ease the pain, or block the pain, or something like that. And that's what it is. It's all the little victories, those little tiny boo, 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 boo dopamine hits in your head. And it's why social media is so prevalent, why everyone wants to open up, because they want to see they want to see the number of thumbs on their Instagram post. You know what Instagram did that was the best thing they've done in Australia? Is that they removed those. So if you go to Instagram, and I don't think they've done it in other parts of the world, but if you go to Instagram and you're scrolling through, you can't see. So if I come here, you can't see how many likes. So here's Rebecca Black. It's Friday. She's actually really cool, by the way, Rebecca Black. She posts on Instagram. But I can't see how many she's got there. And the same with my post. If I go to my posts, I can't see how many likes they've got. I can come in here and I can look at my post like that, and that's what it's going to look like. See how the bottom there? No idea. No idea how many comments, how many likes. And you know what that does? It encouraged me. That's just my daughter putting a piece of hair from a hairbrush on my head. It encourages me to just put stuff out there. And I don't really know, unless I go back in and check. Yes, I can tap on the thing, and I can go in and I can look at the comments, and I can count the number of people that have done it, and I can go into and see. Like, there's ways to do it, but it takes some effort. And I think that's cool. And I would like to see more of that in more platforms, because I think we've become obsessed with not sharing what we want to share because we think it's cool. It's got to the point where I've heard that people, and again, if you are doing this, that's fine. Like, if it's making you feel better, if you put something out there and you think you have to, but people are posting things on Instagram and then waiting 10 minutes. And if the like rate is not high enough, they delete it so that they have this curated view. Because heaven forbid, if you normally get 100 likes, if you only get 10 likes on an Instagram post, it must mean you're an instant failure. No, absolutely not. Yeah, got to do what you love. Got to do what you love. Russ says, nice aesthetically, but usually don't necessarily translate to real fans or more money. And that's the bottom line. You've said in one sentence what it's taken me 5 minutes of ranting to say, but it's exactly right. It's not necessarily relating to it. And here's the thing. We've seen it time and time again. There are YouTubers, because we talked about music, but it's the same with video. There are YouTubers who have come out of nowhere. They've had a viral hit. 10 million views. They suddenly have 500,000 million subscribers. They're getting brand deals thrown at them. They're getting all these things. And then a month later, they're still dining out on that one viral hit, but they're not producing consistent content. And you know what happens? You know what happens to flavors of the month next month? They're not the flavor of the month anymore. So if you're going to play the viral flavor of the month game, don't go and buy the private jet and the Lambo and the big mansion on that first YouTube check, because guess what? Second one, it's probably going down. Third one, going really down. So yeah, again, the same with music. It's not a reality. Shortcuts, hacks, ways to be viral, not really the way to go. But again, maybe your view is different. This is just one man's opinion, so let me know. Lone Wolf's Echo says, do you think it's okay to make your songs personal or not when first starting as an artist? What a really good question. I might come back to that one. Remind me of that, to make your songs personal, because I think that needs a little bit more attention. I'll jump down and see if we've got any other comments on this one. Tom says it's easy to feel like a failure if your views are down or your subscribers drop. Human nature, I suppose. Absolutely. And it is. It's human nature that you want to feel successful. You want to feel like you're progressing and not going backwards. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly the case. Hello to Les Productions Zivon. I hope you are doing well. Yeah, I love Rebecca Black. Come on. She's actually really cool. If you've seen her interviewed lately, she got a raw deal. Like, for some reason, we're a bit better these days, not by much, but when she released that song, she was 15 and she had these people on the internet, like these big, actual famous celebrity people, like hosting shows, I won't name who, just like going at her hardcore. I'm like, that is a minor that you are saying is like a ridiculous waste of space. What do you think that's going to do to their mental health? Hey? Anyway, she came out of it well the other way, and now she's very cool. So you should follow her. Scrolling down just to see, Friggsy says, vanity metrics is a really interesting conversation. My numbers, Insta, etc. would say it's not something I'm interested in, but for me, it's about getting music out to an audience interested in my music. Yes, correct. Spot on. And that's the thing. That's why I say vanity metrics are not good. And I'm not talking sub for sub here today. If you want to hear me rant on that, I'm sure I'll do it in a future show. But sub for sub or like for like or any of those sort of reciprocal arrangements do not work. And I'll give you the very quick version of why they don't. It's because if you say, hey bro, sub for sub, you subscribe to my channel and I subscribe to your channel without actually knowing what it is or liking it or having any intention to watch it, I am doing you a disservice. Because here's how it works. Say you're a YouTube creator, you're sharing your music on YouTube. You've got 100 followers. Cool. Yep, 100 people that genuinely dig your music. You go out and do a big sub for sub campaign. You get 900 people that subscribe to you. You've done it. 1,000 subscribers. YouTube opens up all these new things for you. You can monetize your channel. Woohoo! Here's what happens though. You put out a video and before you were getting 60 views out of 100 subscribers. That's pretty good. That's actually an amazing rate of subscribers watching you. And then hopefully a few new people are watching your stuff as well because they're finding it through groups, forums, organically. But there's now 1,000 people. Those 900 people, maybe 10 of them watch it. So you're getting 70 views from 1,000 subscribers. YouTube looks at that and says, we're not pushing this person's content anywhere. They've got a terrible ratio. The number of people subscribed versus the number of people actually watching is shocking because no one's actually watching. They're not interested. They're clearly seeing these videos. They're not interested. So it's the fastest way. If people talk about the mighty YouTube algorithm, the mighty Spotify playlist algorithm, the quickest way to get yourself down in that is to do sub for sub, like for like. Anyway, so if you want to do it, do it. It's also against their terms of service. So pretty much every platform has it in their terms of service that you can't do it. So there you go. I will answer the questions that we had because we had a couple come up and then we'll scroll back on down because I did like this one. And I'll put it out to the rest of the group here. Do you think it's okay to make your songs personal or not? Yeah, so I think it can go either way. If you don't feel comfortable sharing your personal information and you want to create a character, some of the best songs I've written have been third person. So, yet some are autobiographical. I wrote my song Anxiety. It was one of the first songs. I put it out on my first album, and I released it as a single like really early on when I got back into music. And that's about me. That was about my struggles with anxiety through a couple of years. And I wanted to share that because it meant a lot to me. I've then written other songs that are completely not about me. The Murdering Time, my most recent song. I have not sat around having murderous thoughts and having to curtail my violence. That was about a completely separate character. So I think it's cool to do both, and I think you just need to find what works for you. Ben Folds talked about this. I was lucky enough to see him live and do one of those meet and greets, and he talked about this. He said, a lot of people say to me, wow, you've got so many names of people. He's got songs about Kate, he's got songs about Stephen, he's got songs about all these characters. Why does he never write about himself? And he's like, I do write about myself, but I feel more comfortable just putting it in the voice of another character. So that can be the other thing. If your writing is just all other characters, doesn't mean it can't have some components of you. It can absolutely be a hybrid. So, and I think everyone writes from at least some level of personal experience, yeah? So all creators are creating based on their experience. It's why if you just lock yourself away and you don't experience life, you never talk to anyone, you never leave your audio cave, you're not going to experience anything and your writing is going to go stale. Because if you're not having conversations with people, if you're not experiencing things, if you're not doing things, what are you writing about? All the thoughts in your head, which is fine. You can do that. But yeah, you're going to run out of content. So that's my take on that. But what do you think? What do folks think? Let me know. I saw another question just below here from Minnesota 122. I promise no accents, but I love the Minnesota accent. How hard is it to learn the basics about GarageBand on an iPad? I promise I didn't put this here, but it's almost like a like a slow pitch over the plate. I would recommend my GarageBand Beginner's Guide. So if you go to studiolivetoday.com/courses, I mentioned at the very start of this show, I've got a GarageBand Beginner's Guide. It's $10. It's fully interactive, and it's 5 hours worth of content that's my hand-picked beginner GarageBand stuff. So if you're interested in learning GarageBand, you want to get off to a flying start, I would check out that course. 10 American dollars. I think it's a decent value and something that you should take a look at. Scrolling on down, I'll just see if we've got other comments here. I've probably missed a whole bunch of people, and I have. My approach from Jeff is for enjoyment. I'm really not concerned about the vanity metrics. If folks like it, great. If not, I won't lose sleep. And that's honestly, it's the best way to go. And I'm not saying that by the way, I'm not preaching this as a holier than thou, that I never look at a number and get disappointed. The fact is, every time I log into YouTube, it tells me how disappointed I should be, because YouTube has this great feature when you log in that says it ranks your last video based on the last 10 videos. So it says, this video is number 4 out of your last 10. That's good. Or it'll say, this video is number 10 out of 10. You couldn't be more of a failure. Doesn't use those words, but that's what it's saying, yeah? And I know those analytics are good, but I almost want the analytics to be a pull thing, not a push thing. So you reckon that would be better? If you want the analytics, they're there, you go in and get them. But if you don't want them, if you just want to put your stuff out there, don't put it front and center. And that's why I actually applaud Instagram and Facebook, their parent company, for doing this, for taking away the likes, because I just think it's good. Anyway. All your song has been, all my bass they belong to us. Yeah, I could absolutely listen to them, submit them to Your Music Live, our weekly. In fact, there's another show tomorrow. We've got an extra Your Music Live tomorrow. So go ahead and do that. And yeah, remember the caps sound like you're shouting too. So you probably can remove the caps when you're commenting in a video. Let's see if we've got anyone else. We certainly learned not to give a hoot. There you go. Righty. We've got folks agreeing with other ones. So Joe Glenn says no. This is about the personal music. I can't put my heart on my sleeve, but that's totally cool if you can, as long as it's creating. Absolutely. Whether you want to do it about yourself or not, go your hardest. Absolutely. Sorry, I've just seen a comment from Russ down below. But Sean Rose, hello again, and everyone. A quick question. When would you recommend using a diminished chord? Whilst they sound odd, many feel emotionally tense at the end of a progression. Here's the thing about diminished chords. I can't remember the last time I used one on purpose. I don't really use a lot of diminished chords. I use a lot of seventh chords in my songwriting, particularly. So I love a seventh. I love a major seventh. Outside of that, I work within the minor and the major realms pretty much. So, yeah, diminished chords, they do sound cool and they can work. And I think I used them in my song Things Change, or Things Have Changed, on the piano. I tend to use them more on the piano than the guitar. But good question. I'll throw it out there because, again, for those that do use diminished chords, then, yeah, let us know. Russ couldn't give a flying Fenwick about vanity metrics. Yeah, and it's a good way to be. We can't all be that. Again, some of us, myself included, we do care a little bit, but yeah. Casey Jones says, I just released my first solo single in years today. It feels good to let it go out there into the world. Congratulations. Yeah, you're very welcome. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing that. If you've released it and you want to share it again, studiolivetoday.com/YML. Submit it. We may be able to play it on a future Your Music Live show. Positive autism, Autism Rocks. Personal songs seem easier to write for us. All the songs we write about Micah living with autism just took a couple of hours to write each. Yeah, and I think if you are writing about personal experience, it does flow a lot easier. I have found that the songs I write about me and my experiences just tends to flow out of me a lot more. I don't have to think it or overthink it because you're not making it up. It's why when people come on this show and I'm interviewing them, I say to them, don't, if you're stressed out, if you're worrying, remember, you know all the answers. We're talking about you. We're only talking about you. You already know all the answers. There's no trick questions because all you have to do is answer it about you. So I think that's why, for me, personal writing is a good way to go. All right. Red, sorry, wrong night. Yes, there'll be no drinking outside of the water here today. That's for sure. Thank you. Yeah, no, I get a bit ranty. I get a bit lectury sometimes. Just gonna close that off. So I put the air conditioner on just to give me a little bit of coolness. Yeah, and if you want to submit to Your Music Live, that's where you can do it. studiolivetoday.com/YML. Bubba, I was hoping Bubba would chime in because Bubba knows his music theory a heck of a lot better than I do. So diminished chords are a great substitute for the 5 chord, especially in a cadence. There you go. And Blueser says diminished chords can be effective in passing to heighten tension. Yeah, absolutely. And now I've got to remember, did I actually use, so there's my song, Things Have Changed. I can't remember if I actually used a diminished chord in that one. Maybe I'll play it and Bubba can tell me if it is. Yeah, diminished chord is so unstable, it can resail to about any chord. Yeah, so it really can easily resolve into any other chord. So it's a good bridging or patching kind of chord. There you go. Jeff says, I think basically just let the song happen organically. If a certain kind of chord fits, use it. If the chord fits, use it. Absolutely. Alrighty, let's move on to our next topic. And if you're having fun here, do the thumbs up because vanity metrics are important. No, not really. But it does. It helps me know what shows I should do. Here's the thing. You might be thinking, if you're new to or if you're not on the newsletter, we did retire Home Studio Q&A. This has kind of replaced it, and I hope you're enjoying it. I just think it's a more organic and interactive way to have a chat with you folks. We can still answer the questions. We can still tackle the topics. We can still have the rants and all the fun stuff, but this just gives us more time and a little more freedom to chat about these sort of things. So if you're having fun, please go ahead and say so. I wasn't paying attention. My phone just started playing this. Well, welcome. I call that the serendipity of the YouTube algorithm. YouTube said, hey, check out this Pete Johns video, and it sent you here, and now you're here. So hang around. Join the community. Say hello to folks, and I hope you enjoy yourself here. No, thank you if anyone else has any tips like Barry here, then do so. I hit upon diminished chords by mistake, and now I quite like them. I have even used an augmented chord in one. Wow, getting jazzy. I know. Yeah, if you want to hear your diminished and your augmented chords, go listen to some jazz music. Listen to some Dave Brubeck. He's the king of all the chords and all the time signatures. Absolutely. Mariam says, I'm so glad my therapist allows your videos as a coping mechanism. Love it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Alrighty, let's go to our next topic. And it is this one. It is, I've lost it. There we go. Why don't we talk about this? Because I did a poll recently, and actually, firstly, I asked this on a Clubhouse interview. I've been on Clubhouse a bit lately, and Jade Starr did an interview with Stu Cash and Andy Goldsby from the Indigo Sunsets, very cool UK band, and I asked them this question. And I want to find out from you folks, if you haven't answered this already, if you haven't seen the poll on the community page, what if you could only do one thing for the rest of your life? Would you record in your studio, or would you play live music for people? Say it again. Would you record in your home studio, or you can only do one, you can play live for people? So that can be busking, that can be open mic nights, that can be live gigs, that can be just playing to your dog, that can be playing to Basil. Whatever you want to do, which way would you go? I'm really interested to find this out, because for me, because I'm so introverted, as much as I love live stuff and as much as I love live music and playing live music and going to live music, it would have to be recording, because I just love the creative process of recording, of taking nothing and just having my guitar or my voice or a piece of software and then creating something out of that, and then recording that and being able to manipulate it and mix it and master it and then release it, then have a product to just put out and say, that is my thing. I created the thing, and putting it out there. So for me, it's recording, but I'm wondering for you what you would like. What do you reckon? Yes, it was this man here that I asked, and I think, Stu, did you say live? I can't remember now. I think both you and Andy ummed and ahed for about 10 minutes and then eventually said, oh, if we had to choose, there's nothing like the energy of a live crowd. I could be putting words into your mouth, but if that's the case, let me know. But yeah, let me know. Would you rather just do that? Would you rather record or play live? So, Mariam says I would personally do it in my home. So, like the home recording side of things. So there you go. There's one for home recording. What else have we got from folks? Kim says, recorded in my studio for sure. I haven't played for an audience since 2003. There you go. Recording, I'd stick to recording. I'm too old to go on world tour. Yeah, get out of the tour bus. The rest of your life. Pete, you just complicated the original question. I might have to reconsider. There you go. Yep, for the rest of your life. You can never do the other thing again. Raz says, record in the studio. I'm dreading having to perform my music live because I'm a new artist. Could be the case. Jade says, record because the world has changed and I treat music like art. Live shows create more memories for others than oneself. See, that's super wise. I like it. Cliff Hall says, would prefer live, instant feedback, and also an instant goofs. I do love the spontaneity of live. Barry says, I enjoy recording, but I love the social aspect of playing live. You get to meet some great people. Great idea. Who else have we got here? Tom says, I'm pretty happy recording and only performing live on YouTube. See, there's the loophole, right? Does performing live mean not live streaming? Because I do enjoy doing that. Juan Pablo says that I prefer live. There you go. Stu says, yep, love live, but love with our original material. Live, yeah, love getting it large in front of a crowd. I think you mean live, but in front of a crowd. Yeah, with your original material. So I think Stuart Andy said they're a bit overplaying covers. So if they were playing live, as long as it's their original music, then that's cool. Jeff says playing live, haven't been in the band for a long time, but it was good times. There you go. Joe Glenn, live music, love the interaction, but always really nervous before a performance. Spent a lot of pre-performance in the past. Haven't we all? Yeah, those butterflies. But remember, that's just excitement. Convert your thinking. Simon Sinek did a really good talk, and I think he might have mentioned it in his book as well, that the same feeling, it's almost the exact same feeling of when you're nervous as when you're excited. So he used to talk about fear of flying, and he said he just converted his fear, thinking, oh, this is nervousness about what may happen, to this is excitement about what may happen. That you might get, you might get a drink, and you might get a gap between you in the middle seat. That's always the best, isn't it, on a plane, when you get that gap in the middle seat, and you can just spread out. Next level cool. Gary Hub says, studio, I can fool a lot more people in the studio. There you go. Frigsy Live, I've been lucky enough to play some big gigs with the band I play with. 15,000 people singing songs with you is a great buzz. Enjoy recording too, but it's a new space for me. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's almost where you started. I think if I asked this to folks who started in live bands and are now recording, they'd be like, ooh, I do love that live. But those that have started with recording and are now getting into live are probably like, recording's my safe space. That's where I go. You did make a couple of typos. That's okay. We got there. We got there in the end. Or to the Brox, Dan says, I played in the church band before. Playing in front of 500 people who are totally into the music and singing along on their feet is a wonderful experience. Yeah, that instant interactive feedback is pretty darn cool. For the few times that I've played live, especially recently, that's definitely the case. Yes, exactly. It's hypothetical and you can keep doing both. Vincent says, love creating, but love seeing what people think of them. So 50-50. Gustav Fett's on the recording. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we have changed topic, but yeah, the major chords make me happy. Minor chords make me sad. Diminished chords make me emotional. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Mark says, played live for many years, been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. There you go. And if you would like a t-shirt, oh no, I'm wearing Icehouse now. I was wearing my Studio Live Today t-shirt. If you'd like a t-shirt, studiolivetoday.com/merch. Help me keep the lights on so I can keep doing the joke. And I prefer studio recording for the rest of my life. There you go. Patrick, if you had to make a choice, if I had to make a choice, be recording because of the legacy aspect. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And there is something about transforming what you create in the studio into a form that can be performed live. It is a true art. And Jeff says being clapped for at karaoke was fun too. Oh, I put a question. I put a poll question about karaoke, which I'll ask again in a minute. Because I went to an engagement party on the weekend and there was karaoke and I didn't know what to do. We'll talk about that next, just really briefly. But I think I missed a question because someone did the right thing and put question in front, and I was blabbing about stuff, and I missed it. Yeah, it was right up here. Question, if allowed. Questions are always allowed. This is what this is all about. StreamYard or OBS? I eventually got some decent broadband, which should allow me to stream properly. Really good question. So we need to, Jade, we need to do this. We should do our next collaboration should be a StreamYard versus OBS, which is for you. Because the answer is it depends. I'm a simple man and I hate setting things up. And once they're set up, I hate changing things. So the reason I use StreamYard is that everything is set up for me. OBS is cool, but it does have a bit of a learning curve. You have to learn about scenes, you have to learn about transitions, you have to learn about all the different objects and the assets that you put into there. So all of your images and all of your text and anything like that. StreamYard, there's a little bit of setup, but it does it all for you. So StreamYard, for instance, I can change things on the fly. So obviously I can put your comments up here like I do that. I can jump over to banners and I can change to that in a second. So I'm just clicking buttons here. I can hide it again. I can come back to your comment and I can put that back up there. I've got all the different branding things I can do. So I'm using the bubble version here. I can go back to the default version. I can use a minimal little version down here. That's all built into the thing. I can throw my logo up in the corner or like a transparent logo up in the corner. That's easy enough to do. And I can even use an entire overlay. So when I'm doing my Your Music live show, I can have the link there to DistroKid. I can have the name of the show, can have everything going on like that. So for me, the ease of use of StreamYard is what sold me on it and why I'm a StreamYard fan and a StreamYard user. By the way, StreamYard, if you'd like to sponsor this show, I think that could be a match made in heaven. What do you think? 2-hour live stream. I'm showing off all the features. I'll clip this out, send it to StreamYard. Wish me luck, folks. But back to the question. Yeah, the benefit of OBS is that A, it's free. So there you go. The StreamYard costs you at least $30 a month. You can use the free version, but it will have, the only difference with the free version, you only get 720p. There's a few features that aren't supported, and you'll get a little duck logo in your corner, a little bit like this. So that's the thing with StreamYard. OBS, if you're willing to put in the time and the commitment, you can basically do it all for free. So it's almost like what's your time worth? What's the effort worth? How much time do you want to spend getting things sorted out? The other thing used to be OBS used to give you better quality because StreamYard used to be only mono audio. And to be honest, the audio quality wasn't great. Thankfully, not just through my hounding, but through a lot of other creators that are into the music space, we hounded. And now we have stereo audio. We have 1080p video on the premium plan. It works well. So yeah, what's the answer? It depends. But for anyone else who's doing live streaming, maybe let us know. How do you stream? What do you use? And then, of course, there's things like Restream. There's Ecamm Live. There's a bunch of options. But the reason I use StreamYard is for all those that I just mentioned. Oh, I'm talking a lot. Going to run out of water in a hurry. Yep, I think we should do it. I think we should definitely go there. Would be cool. So yeah, I thought about it. Definitely my home studio. I take my hat off to anyone who performs music live. I perform magic gigs live, but magic gigs. There you go. Sean, we might have to get you on a future creator town hall. Talk about magic. That's a creative art, right? Let's not limit ourselves here. The whole reason I wanted to do this show is to find out about other cool art forms and things people are doing. Gary says, don't get me wrong, love to rip people's faces off live. I'm also a simple man. Look forward to you and Jade going through it. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, try it out. Here's the thing. Try both because you can use StreamYard for free. You can actually stream up to 20 hours a month for free with StreamYard. And the beauty part, and same with OBS, is the beauty part is you can stream to an unlisted YouTube video. So I did a heap of that. I did a heap of testing before I ever went live publicly. You can stream to an unlisted or a private video and just try it out. See what works for you. What gels with you. Like I started using StreamYard and it instantly gelled with me. Jade started using StreamYard, didn't like it, didn't gel with her. That's totally cool. That's why it's so cool that we've got so many options out there. So many different things we can do. Tom uses both. For chat type shows, StreamYard is hard to beat. That's the other thing. For getting people into your stream. Like I could add someone in right now simply by sending them a link. They load it up in their browser and they're in. So that seems to be. Yeah, I'm very practiced with the StreamYard stuff now. So I'm clicking around a little bit. Righty. Yeah, so karaoke. Who's done karaoke lately? I won't make this a big long topic because we're getting to the midpoint. We're going to do our midpoint motivation. But how many people have done karaoke recently? Probably not that many because it's more of a public out there kind of thing, yeah. But here's the thing. We're at this engagement party. Everyone's doing karaoke. I was there and I'm like, I don't know what to do because people are like, oh, Pete, you should sing a song. You're a singer. But I am. And it's not that I'm too good for karaoke, but I also didn't know when I went up there and sung, do I sing it 100%? Do I sing like I normally sing? Would that be perceived as like showing off and being like arrogant if I go up and try and sing? And then if I sing within myself, is that even worse? So I did go with the politely decline option in the end. I'm like, oh no, no, no. I've got a show early in the morning. I need to save my voice. I mean, it was true. I did. But yeah, I did feel a bit bad because I don't know. It would be kind of like, what's the comparison? Like when you're doing something, it'd be like if you're a chef and you're cooking a barbecue and they're like, oh, you're a chef. You come and cook these sausages. Is that relevant or is that just me being big-headed? I'm with you, Joe. I just keep drinking. Barry won't do the karaoke thing. No. Russ says, I would love to do karaoke, never done it before. It is fun. Look, it's a lot of fun. Bubba says, never do the karaoke, too stiff, as loose as I am. Or Guitar Hero for that matter. It doesn't have a whole lot to do with playing a guitar. No, it doesn't. In fact, I played Guitar Hero with a friend of mine who is also a guitarist, and he hated it because he did not like and the same with people that are singers that play SingStar. They don't like it because they don't like the fact that it's so regimented that they have to hit things exactly. Because part of being a singer or a guitarist is a little bit of variation, right? You want a bit slick, a bit change, a bit different. Doesn't allow you to do that with those games. So there you go. Karaoke. Oh, I'd love to hear you doing karaoke, Russ. You could do the streets, I reckon. You do a good Mike Skinner. Or maybe, what's that? I don't want nobody else. I love you. She's lying. You could totally do that song. Ain't no doubt it's playing shit. Anyway, Gary said my first karaoke was Master of Puppets on my birthday. I was all in. There you go. Yeah, I love the karaoke boxes. Those here in down in Chinatown here in Adelaide, there's about 4 different places, and yeah, they're usually it's a Japanese thing. I think the Japanese are fully into it, but yeah, they just have these little rooms, and you go in there and you got the machine, and you're doing it to yourself. I think that's cooler because that's a bit more laid back than the whole you're on a stage and there's a big group of people. I think that's yeah, yep. I'd imagine karaoke's scary when people think you haven't expect you to sing random songs you haven't rehearsed. Could go terribly. Yeah, and you never know how good the backing track is. Here's a story. I was listening and someone who was actually a singer, and they were singing "The Son of a Preacher Man," I think, or something like that. But the backing track was they were clearly a good singer, but the backing track and the words were just not matching up, and it was clear that they were just struggling because when you know something so well, if it's slightly different, it can go badly, I reckon. Tom says, I've done karaoke. If I'm familiar with the people, it's easier. They usually don't have many songs. I know the song selection was quite ordinary. If Hank Hill made a song, I'd maybe do it. Thomas Gillane on Clubhouse just before did the best Hank Hill impression I've ever seen. If you've never heard a Belgian man doing a Hank Hill impression, you've got to ask Thomas to do that. Yeah, or exactly, Casey, having to change keys on the fly. You never know what key it's in. It's like if it's not in a key you can sing, you spend the whole time going up and down octaves trying to find where you can sing it. There you go. And yeah, many times the lyrics are obviously wrong. 100%. Very much so. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm the same. Yeah, my vocal range is pretty limited, and I usually sing songs in a different from the original. So yeah, no. Stu's done the classic. See, we did look at that actually. So I was there with my wife and I said to her, if you can find Kids by Robbie Williams and Kylie Minogue or Don't Go Breaking My Cart, Kiki D and Elton John, then I will sing those. But everything else is off the table. As a texter, I'd love to hear your, hey Bobby, I got propane in my urethra. That's the best I can do. And I said no accents. Instant karaoke star, just add alcohol. I think there's something in that for all of us. Alrighty, we are at the midpoint. And you know what that means. Well, you probably don't because we've only done 2 of these shows. But it's time for some midpoint motivation. And this week, I want to talk about something. In fact, you know what? To rest my voice, I'm going to play you a video. Yes, it's video time with Pete. Pete's cheating. I'm going to play a couple of years ago, Pete, just so that I can have a drink, put the air conditioner on for a bit, and rest my voice so we can come back for a strong second. I don't know why I didn't think of this before. Like, I don't have to be live. I can just play a video that I've already done. I've already talked about this. Everyone starts at 0. Because I did a rant about this a while ago, and it's 7 minutes long. It might be a little bit long. I might cut myself off. Oh, and I've put on a few kilos since this video is done. So this is from 2 years ago, when I was in the middle of doing things, and I've got a lot of people that were coming to me saying, "Oh, wow, no, I can't do it. Why aren't I as good as this person? Why aren't I good at that person? Why can't I get this done?" And I kept saying to people, you know what? Regardless of who you are and how experienced you are, everyone starts at 0. Everyone starts with no experience and without the ability to create music or to create art or to create videos. It's all just about practicing and doing your thing. Anyway, I'm gonna let old Pete, which is ironically young Pete, take it away and talk about this. So everyone starts at 0. Why you need to start creating music and why you need to start creating music right now. Let's take a listen, and I'll take a wee break. Everyone starts at 0. Hi, my name is Pete. This is Studio Live today, where I help you create, record and release your best music. And today it's a beautiful winter morning here in Adelaide, South Australia. The birds are chirping, the sun's out. So I wanted to talk a little bit about something that's come up in a lot of different forums that I participate in and that I've been reflecting on, which is that everyone starts at 0. So no matter what it is, if it's creating music, if it's writing songs, if it's recording songs, if it's releasing songs, all the things I talk about here, everyone starts at 0. So everyone has to write their first song, everyone has to record their first song, and everyone has to release their first song. And this is what I encourage folks to do here, why I spend so much of my time showing you tutorials on how to record, tutorials on how to create music, to use the songwriting process to create better songs, and then how to release. So I've gone on a bit of a tangent at the moment showing you how I release my music, which is using DistroKid, just so that I can get it finished and done. So done is better than not done. That sounds really stupid. Done is better than spending all of your time trying to perfect something. Your first song is not going to be perfect. And that's a reality that took me nearly 40 years to work out. It took me a long time to actually release my first song. I played in bands back in my teens, back in the 90s, and we did demos. Back in the days, you'd record a demo, and your demo tape would be to give to venues or to give to people or to sell to your friends for $5 at a party that you were playing at. So it wasn't really taken seriously because you couldn't distribute your music. You couldn't actually get it out there unless you paid a lot of money to duplicate, to do a mastering, to get a bunch of CDs or tapes even back in the day produced and then sold. There's no way to do that. You could spend a couple of $1,000s and do that and have 50 copies in a suitcase in the boot of your car, the trunk of your car, or you could just not release your music. Whereas now, anyone can actually, and there's free services as well as things like DistroKid that I use, where you can actually release your music. So everyone's first song is going to be their first song. And my first song was, well, my first EP that I released was only just over a year ago. And it feels like I've been recording and making music for a really long time, and I have been, but when I reflect upon that, I think, why did I spend my 20s and most of my 30s playing music, writing songs, writing parts of songs, but not finishing them? Well, there were a lot of reasons, and we don't have enough time in this video to go inside my head and work out all of the things, but the key fundamental things were that I was lacking in confidence, I was lacking in feeling that what I was doing was good enough, that it was going to compete with what I was hearing. And I've talked about it a lot before, that music creation shouldn't be a competition. It's one of the few things in life, or depending on how you look at it, everything in life should be this way. But if you think about sport, if you think about going for a promotion, getting a new job, a lot of that is a competitive environment, and music can be competitive. If you want to have a #1 single, you got to compete with it. And we go on like this. Pete was a one-take wonder back then, and he didn't do a whole lot of editing that he probably should have done. And look at that angle. Yeah, I'd never do that now, mostly because I've added 2 or 3 extra chins under there. That's why the beard's a bit longer. Anyway, I go on there to talk about the fact that, yeah, people tend to get into things and they compete with people that have been doing things for 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years, thinking that they should be as good as those people, not remembering that everyone starts at zero. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of comfort. And if you are struggling, if you haven't started releasing things, then you can get on out there and do it. As Kim says, yeah, I went through that for 15 years. Yeah, a lot of us did. A lot of us did. I did it for 20 years. And look, there's a lot of reasons for that. It wasn't just my lack of confidence and the fact that I didn't think I was good enough. It was also that life gets in the way. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to grab life and just shove it to the side for a while and get back into things, right? Yeah, there was a solo coming up. So I had to turn myself down. I had to fade it on out. All right, let's jump in. Hello, Bear. Thanks for sneaking on in here. Good to see you, my friend. Wave. Let's jump into our next topic. If you're just joining us, we are going through, this is our weekly town hall. We're talking about a bunch of stuff to do with creativity, to do with music, video, art, everything in between. So if you've got questions, all you need to do is throw the word question in front of your comment, and I'll answer them, or more likely, I'll throw them out here to the wonderful folks we have watching on YouTube and Facebook. And if you are having a good time, if you're enjoying the video, then yeah, give it a thumbs up. If you're not, thumbs down's fine. I'm a big boy, I can handle it. Let's talk about the next one. And I wanted to get a little bit, we talked about this briefly this morning, but we'll just jump into the fun that's going on with the Apple event at the moment. So I mentioned it really briefly in GarageBand Weekly today, but there appears to be no Apple event in March, despite the fact that 3 or 4 of the top leakers, I don't think I'd ever want to be called a leaker. It has bad connotations. The top Apple insiders actually mentioned that there would be, and that we'd be getting new iPads, AirTags, AirPod Pro 3rd generations, new iMacs. All these things were coming. And then guess what? Meh, meh. Oh, what's that? The Family Feud that has a bum bum sound effect. I probably can't play it. It's probably somehow copywritten. But yeah, there's been nothing. And it looks like it'll actually be happening in April. So we won't have any Apple products. And the weird thing about this is that Apple went absolutely nuts in 2020. And they just went product, launch. Like every 3 months, they were just pushing and pushing so many products. We've hit 2021, and it's like crickets. There's silence. There's nothing happening. And it is a little bit strange that as the world opens up again a little more, like in 2020, everything was so locked down and there were manufacturing holdups and there were production holdups, and Apple was still pushing out all this product. And now here we are in 2021 and nothing coming. So I don't know if they've just been behind the scenes working on a lot of stuff, or there's been delays in things or other things that we don't know about, but it is a bit weird that we don't have anything there that's come from Apple. So we'll see what comes out of that. But my question to you is, are you excited? Who's looking to buy something? Who's looking to buy an Apple product this year? And are you holding on? Are you the sort of person that just keeps waiting because you want to see the next thing? Like right now, I wouldn't buy a new iPad Pro. Almost certain that a new iPad Pro 2021 is coming. I wouldn't buy a new iPad Mini. I'm almost sure that the 6th generation Mini is coming. The M1 Max, I think they're coming later in the year. Maybe they'll sneak an iMac in there, but if you need a new Mac, I would just go and grab one now. The M1s are good. They're pretty darn good. I'm using one right now. I have no complaints. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything that I'm excited about. Funnily enough, when Jade was here in Adelaide recently, she was using her Apple Watch, and we went to the pub, and she's just like, "Oh, I'll just pay for this," and gets her watch and does the thing and pays with the watch. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool, because my Fitbit can do a lot of things. In fact, does it have payments? Maybe I'm making it up. Maybe it does. It has a wallet. What does the wallet do? Payments. To start, add a card in the wallet section of the Fitbit mobile app. Oh. Okay, so there you go. Apparently I have a wallet that I wasn't aware of. So maybe I don't need to buy an Apple Watch. Although this one did do a weird thing this morning where I turned it on and it started having like interference. Like the screen looked like the snow that you'd get on an old analog TV. And it didn't work. So I don't know. Oh, I've got Deezer. I've got all sorts of things on here. I didn't know this. Alexa. My phone has Alexa. Alexa. Sorry. I just wanted to annoy the crap out of anyone who has an Alexa. Evil, I tells you. The people here just like had their phones upside down. Yeah. See? Or in portrait mode. Like, why can't people take videos like that? Why We might talk about that later. Let's talk about portrait mode video later. Why not? Nah, no leaker. But Sean Rose says, I'm only 21 years of age, and about a year ago I was comparing myself to Richard Myhill, who has been making music videos for over 40 years. Very diverse musician making production music. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. When you're starting out, there's an old adage that, it took me 20 years to become an overnight success. Not me, but other people that say that, people that are successful. It's like, you know what? You know how much hard work. Like, say what you will about Justin Bieber, because he just like popped onto the YouTube scene like as a 13-year-old or 12-year-old or whatever. And he was like, oh, wow, this 13, 12-year-old can really sing. Yeah, forget about the 8 years of, guitar lessons and singing lessons and practicing every day that he did. Let's just say that he's a prodigal 12-year-old that just popped out of nowhere. And it's the same with everyone else. Everyone starts at zero. And we need to stop comparing ourselves to those who have much more experience. I want to buy the Mac Mini. I love my Mac Mini. Like we've had its ups and downs, and it doesn't always play super nicely. But compared to what I used to have to go through with my PC, it just runs and it works. And I'm totally going to jinx it now. But we're here an hour and 10 minutes into a live stream. I got videos playing there. I got audio coming through a mixer. I just got everything happening, and it doesn't seem to miss a beat. So there we go. Thomas Gillane says, seen a few articles about an Apple car that may be in the works. Yeah, I have heard about the Apple car rumor. I don't know. What do you think? Is Apple going to put out a car? Tom says, one thing to consider is with the economics downturn, people have less disposable income. Yep. So companies like Apple are probably a bit wary of new product releases now, which is why it was so weird that they did it in 2020, Tom. Like, I agree with you totally. So why would they push it out products left and right in 2020? I would have thought they would have used that for like catch up and development time, but maybe it's the development cycle. Maybe they had a whole bunch because again, Apple, everything starts at zero for Apple too. So maybe all their 2018 and 2019 development products were ready to go. So they had to push them out in 2020 because they were half done anyway. And then they've hit the gap is going to be 2021 because this is 2020's development cycle where they had to go through the working from home and the lower production and the lower workload. Maybe. That's probably a good point. Your watch makes money. I would love a watch that makes money. Joe's holding on for a refurbished Mac Mini. Yeah, that's going to be the go. When all the people like me, when the M2 or the M1X comes out, we're all just like, ooh, new. That's when you're going to be able to pick up a really good price on a first-gen M1 Mac Mini because they're proving to be really reliable. I haven't seen too many people that are like, oh, my Mac Mini's now a paperweight. Except for Raz. My Mac is broken. I have some old GarageBand projects I can't open, so I might get a new MacBook. There you go. Mark says doesn't need anything right now. Excuse me. Doesn't need anything right now. New Mac Mini M1, iPhone SE 2nd gen, so I'm good. Yeah, absolutely. iPad 2018. You're right in the sweet spot, Mark. All that gear. So if someone said to me, what is the best sweet spot gear, price versus performance, I would say Mac Mini M1, iPhone 2018, and iPhone SE 2nd gen. Because you're getting all the best stuff. That is definitely all the best bang for your buck stuff. So good buying. You're said hello. Very good. Thomas says, put it on my tab bar, keep my wallet needs charging. Yeah, that's right. Wouldn't it be funny? It's like, oh no. There's a funny joke. It's like, I was reading it the other day. There's a meme that's like, can you unplug your cigarette? I need to charge my book. Man, the future is wacky. It's like, messed up. Because, yeah, the amount of things that we have these days, it's like you can't even smoke a cigarette because you got to, charge your vape, and you can't read a book because your Kindle's out of battery. It's like, yeah, could you please unplug your cigarette so I can charge my book? The future, hey. Gustav Fed, if they bring Logic Pro to the old iPads, then that would be great, but it would be a very Apple. Look, they haven't done app segmentation. I mean, they sort of have. There's so many apps that you can really only run on a newer iPad or iPhone because while they're technically supported by older stuff that runs iOS 14, they're not so much. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they did differentiate that in the future. We'll have to wait and see. Bear says my iPad Air is very glitchy. Yeah, the old iPad Air first gens, yeah, they're a bit rough. I've got one of those too. Doesn't do so good. Yep, exactly. Be your best, not someone else's best. Sean says, I have Apple products and an Android Hawaii. I never know how to say that name. Pro mobile phone. Most either pick iOS or Android, but I like both. There you go. Yeah, I'm the same. For the longest time, I only had iPhones, and I still used Mac. I still use PCs, and then I started using iPads, and I still use PCs. And it's only been the last year that I've been on the Mac bandwagon. Gary says, if the car comes with GB Car OS, I mean, how cool would that be? If you could just create music on your car, I don't know how that would work, but it sounds cool. Yep. Reminds me of don't compare yourself to who others are today, but rather to who you were in the past. Comparing yourself to others is never fair. Yeah, exactly. It's like golf. Even though you're competing against other people, really, the reason you're competing is to lower your handicap. You just want to be better than last week's, last year's, and 5 years ago version of yourself. Absolutely. Is the Apple car going to stop or fuck? Yeah. Low power. Switch to low power mode. You can only drive at 20 kilometers per hour. Maybe. Oh, the memes are going to be worth it. Gets the beach ball on the highway. Yep, right. It's like, oh, sorry, I was on my way, but I got the spinning beach ball. I'm stuck on the highway. Yeah. Yep, optimizing performance. See, it's low hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit. Bought an iPad 2020 Pro last December. Love it. Yeah. And look, I mentioned it the other day. Someone asked me, "What are you excited about with the new iPad Pro? Will you get one?" I'm like, no. I'm a generation skipper, often a 2-generation skipper. So I went from the iPhone XS to the iPhone 12 Pro, and I went from basically an iPad Air 2 all the way up 5 years later to the iPad Pro 2020. So this thing will be with me for many, many years, I'm sure. Hello, Ultra. Hope you're doing well. Jeff Brush says iPhone later this year, though. First one. Very cool. Nicely done. Cool. Yeah. Kim said that you could do the whole song in the parking lot, Gary. Absolutely. If you don't know Gary Hubbs, he likes to record in the parking lot, and he's done a song called Parking Lot, which was recorded in a parking lot. So there you go. He's all about that. Or the car park, as we'd say in Australia. We don't tend to say parking lot. We tend to say car park. Going to park in the car park. Absolutely. Sean says I just bang on the steering wheel. Yeah, right. Exactly. Blow in it like the old Nintendo cartridges. You just have to open your bonnet. I think I got it. Chink. Hey, there you go. And off you go. Maybe not. All right. So that's enough Apple talk, because we have a whole other show all about Apple. All right. Let's get into a new segment. Here's my theme music for the new segment. New segment. This is going to be our hidden gems. And I came up with this idea literally an hour ago when I was on Clubhouse and I was talking to a bunch of cool people, and they were telling me about cool stuff. And I thought, there's so much cool stuff out there that I want to make sure that each week on this show, we have a segment where we can bring some hidden gems. Now, in the future, when I have a guest, I'm going to get them to bring their hidden gems, and we can just say, look, what are some of the things that you think are really cool? YouTube channels, content, movies, shows, whatever, that are going to help creators that you think are cool. And so today, we're going to look at a few. So the first cab off the rank is a channel that I've mentioned before. It's a very cool channel, and it is called Look Mum, No Computer. There it is. I've linked it down in the description, so if you want to follow along, you can go ahead and check all these out. But what is Look Mum, No Computer about? Well, as the name suggests, it is about creating music, but not just your boring, run-of-the-mill, like just put your DAW in GarageBand and record on your iPad or your iPhone or your Mac or your PC. No. And Look Mum No Computer is all about recording on all sorts of weird stuff. So you can see there, we got synths, we got strange old computers. This one, the most recent one that I watched with this, I bought a massive pile of mystery test equipment. So if you're into your retro computing, your retro tech, your retro gear, and you want to check out a very cool channel, I would look no further than this one. Look Mum No Computer. I won't play any videos because copyright, but it's one of those channels where every time you load it up, you're not sure what you're going to get, but you know you're going to be amused, right? I like it. I believe that Huawei is pronounced Huawei. That's right. I think like a wah pedal. I think they're actually banned in Australia or the US or somewhere. Weren't they the ones that had the problems with things and the executives and I don't know. Anyway, I don't own any Huawei stuff. And there you go. Tom has done you a solid and also put it right there in the chat if you want to check that one out. Another one that I only learned about today and now I can't stop watching it is this channel. I think it was Brad Example. Was it you over in Clubhouse that gave us this one? And it is called Dad, How Do I? Now, this one is less to do with music and tech. and more just a hidden gem of advice. Because if you're like me, you probably struggle with some of the day-to-day things. Like pretty much every time I need to tie a tie, I have to go onto YouTube and I have to search, how do I tie a tie? So this channel is all about that. How do you make coffee? How do you wrap a present? How do you, what is something like that? How do you make biscuits? Which I'm assuming are the American biscuits, not the cookie biscuits. There you go. It was Thomas Gillane. Sorry, it was Thomas that did. Brad gave us, I think he gave us the next thing we're going to talk about. Anyway, so it was Thomas. Put your hand up. Thank you, Thomas. But yeah, really, really cool. How do you shave? Like, how do you do it? And the thing is, it's a bit of a sad state of affairs, isn't it? That these things have to exist because we don't teach life skills, right? And the reason I think this is relevant to music creation is this. That there are so many people who are out there doing things, and whether it's music creation or whether they're famous in the video world or the YouTube world or whatever it is, but they don't seem to have a grasp on basic things. For instance, managing finances. Why do schools not teach our kids how to balance I was going to say balance a checkbook. No one outside of the US uses checks anymore or checkbooks, so that's irrelevant. But balance a budget, to balance their money, to save money, to understand that if you spend more money than you earn, you go into debt and that is bad. Like some of those sort of things. And I think some of this, we used to have a subject in school called home economics. Does anyone still have that? Does that still exist? So, yeah, as well as doing your music lessons and your Italian lessons or French lessons or whatever language you did, you'd also do tech studies, which would be woodwork, plastics, metalwork, all that cool stuff. Have to wear goggles and trusting 12-year-olds to use drill presses. It was great. Really good idea. But we did that, and we did home economics, which even for the boys, girls, everyone did it. And you learn how to do basic sewing. You learn how to do basic cooking and basic home maintenance stuff. Now, I don't know if this stuff even exists anymore or if it's done to the extent it was, but we seem to be teaching kids a whole lot of things, how to use technology, how to look at things, how to Google things. But are we teaching them how to actually live their life? I don't know. Bit of a tangent there, I know, but it was just so cool that I want to do that. Yeah, it's because teachers don't know about finance either. Potentially, yeah, you're trusting that. Those American biscuits better be Southern. Yeah, so it's biscuits. As I learnt when I went to the US, biscuits means a different thing. Here, biscuits are cookies. Biscuits are sweet biscuits, and the same in the UK. In the US, when I went there, I went to KFC, and they're like, would you like some biscuits and gravy with that? And I said, no thanks. The gravy sounds good, but I don't want to dip any biscuits in it. And they're like, oh, we hand make our biscuits with buttermilk, and look, okay, bread. It's like a bread thing. Anyway, Tom says the schools are so worried about high-level STEM curriculum, they forget the basics of life. They really do. And this wasn't meant to be a sort of slant on schools, although I do not think that schools are doing the right thing by kids a lot of the time these days. But yeah, exactly. The science, technology, whatever the E stands for, mathematics, that the STEM stuff is so heavily focused on. There you go. And Gary's going to talk about the parking lots. School teaches the relevance. I mean, sometimes it does. It teaches you how to pass tests, which is the least relevant thing to do now. Memorizing facts. Whenever my kids come home and they're like, oh, we were doing history. I'm like, did they make you memorize any facts? Because if they did, yeah. So anyway, different things. Bubba says, my dad ended his military career as drill sergeant. He definitely taught me how to shave. Attention! Get your blade. Did he teach you how to do the straight razor shave like they do in the jungle? No, they probably still had safety razors. Domestic science, that's what it's called in other parts of the world? Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it is. It's so cool. I'm addicted. I'm watching it all now, and he must be doing something right because 3.2 million survivors, 2 subscribers. Survivors is a different thing, and yeah, E is for engineering. And Thomas says, I'm glad I had those things in high school, even though that type of education was kind of looked down upon because it's not academic driven, right? But again, for most people, for 80, 90% of the population, how much time do you spend doing academic things versus, functioning as a human being? I think we need humaning. I think that needs to be a new subject. How to humaning in real life. Anyway, and yes, my American accent's really coming along, isn't it? Oh, why do I do this? And typing. Yes, I think someone mentioned typing. You've got to also learn how to type. Anyway. Yeah, that's a good question. How many people touch type versus just the hunt and peck? Let me answer that by saying I can touch type pretty fast. So yes, I'm not the greatest typer of all time, but I can actually touch type. And I learnt that early on again. And I don't know how people function when they have to look down at the keyboard with the two fingers. Like you'd get things done, but it would take an awfully long time, I reckon. All right, let's continue. Because, yeah, that was, oh no, but what do we have? We have one more. And this is something that I will be watching. So this was Brad. So we were talking. Thomas Gillane did his Hank Hill impression. And this is, this is music adjacent. This is something that I'll be checking out. And I don't know, let me know if anyone else has been watching this. But Mike Judge, who made Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, the Hank Hill character, he does voices. He was the brains behind Office Space, one of my favourite movies of all time. He's got a show that I completely missed, which is this one. Mike Judge presents Tales from the Tour Bus, which is very cool. It says, hit the road with the craziest stories of some of country music's greatest singers. So it's a comedy. It looks like it's MA, so it's probably not going to be for everyone. It's a comedy series from Mike Judge. So that is something that I will be watching because I love me some Mike Judge. And I was not aware of this. And apparently it's a Cinemax. Whatever Cinemax is, we don't have that here in Australia. We don't have Hulu either, technically, but let's just say that, yeah, Hulu has it. I pay for Hulu. Yes, but I'm probably not supposed to. All right, let's continue on. But that was my hidden gem for this week. So you can check that out. Look, Mum, No Computer, Dad, How Do I, and Tales from the Tour Bus, my 3 picks of the week. And if you've got some hidden gems that you'd like to contribute, throw them here in the chat or leave a comment down below. They're things that all of us should be checking out that we perhaps don't know about, that may be some hidden gems. Mark's got one here who says Michael Cusson from the jazz band Uzeb has a YouTube channel that's really worth a look and listen. There you go. That is cool. We'll have to check that one out. And there you go. Tom has come to the party with a link to Hulu there where you can check out Tales from the Tour Bus. See you later, Gary Hubbs, who's got to run for dinner time. It's coming now. Do-do-do. And you are a nerd, Bubba. I can imagine you loving school. Sitting up there, front and center, apple for the teacher every day. Yeah, no, that's right. I didn't mind school. I liked the subjects, didn't like the bullies. There you go. I was a nerd, they were jocks, and nerds did not rule the world like they do these days. These days, the nerd culture is big. Back in the day, nerd culture just got you teased and bullied. No. Don't worry, it's all cool now. They're all like on the dole and surfing up in Queensland. And yeah, anyway. We'll move on to our next topic, which is going to be this one. Yes. This is an important one. We were talking about this again when we were chatting in Clubhouse today. And backing up. I'm going to go on a rant about backing up. I'm not the best person at backing up, but I tend to at least have my most important stuff at least in 2 places. Let me know. What is your backup strategy? Do you have one? Do you back up your stuff? And if so, where and how? My experience is this. Since the cloud came along, it's made backing up a lot easier, but also more expensive. Because the fundamental thing to keep in mind with backing up your stuff is this. If your things are in only one place, they are not backed up. Okay? I'll say it again because it's important. Important to get this concept right. And I learnt this from Leo Laporte back in the day. I think I mentioned it with Jade on the first episode of this show. But if your things are in only one place, that is the thing. That is not the backup. That is the thing. So what a lot of people do, they run out of space on their hard drive. So they grab a USB drive or a USB flash drive, they plug that in, they offload it all onto their USB drive, and then they delete it from their hard drive and they move on, safe in the knowledge that their stuff is backed up. Guess what? It's not. That is not a backup. That is taking something and putting it in a different place. That's not going to help you. It would be like saying, oh, well, I've got these photos. They're very precious, but instead of making a copy of them, I'll just put them in a different cupboard. It's not backed up. They're just in a different cupboard. If that cupboard floods or catches on fire, guess what? You lose your photos. It's the same with your files. If they're in one place, they are not safe. You want them in 2, preferably 3 places. So what do? Do you have to buy a whole bunch of external drives? Maybe. At least 2? Yeah, maybe. Or do you use the cloud? Now, I've moved into cloud storage more so. And I'll mention this, like I get paid nothing. I get no kickbacks here from Apple for mentioning this, but the question was asked about iCloud storage, and we were chatting about this today. So iCloud storage is 50 gigabytes that you get by default, right? Most people have a lot more than 50 gigabytes of files that they want to back up. So let's jump over to my iPad screen here. And if you want more, because everybody wants more, if you want more storage, there's a way to do it. You do have to pay for it, and here's how you do. You go in, if you're on an iOS device, you tap on your face here, and then you go down to iCloud. You tap on that one, and then you tap on Manage Storage. So you can see here, you can already see I've got 2 terabytes. I've used 713 gigabytes of it, and I don't back up a lot of stuff, right? I don't back up photos, I don't back up mail, I don't back up a lot of things. But the important things, GarageBand, do get backed up. iMovie, they do get backed up. Voice memos do get backed up. So if I tap on Manage Storage here, it's going to take me in to my storage management. And guess what? I've got 2 terabytes on my current plan. Now, if you don't have that, if you've got 50 gig, then you can actually upgrade. So you can upgrade if you're using Apple devices, if you're using iPhones and iPads, I do recommend it. You can upgrade. There's a 200 gigabyte, 500, and 2 terabyte. And they're different prices in different parts of the world. It'll tell you when you do it. But if you tap on the change storage plan, it's going to bring this up and it's going to ask you, there you go. So at the moment, I pay $14.99 per month, and every month I get charged that. That's, I think, $9.99 US, and it's going to be different things. You can downgrade here, or if you're already on a lower plan, you have an upgrade option. So you'll be able to upgrade. As Jeff says here, I just buy the minimum amount. So I think you can go from 50 up to 200 for that. And Gusta says, maybe it is only 5 gigabytes. Is it only 5? And maybe it's 550, 200, 550, 200 and 2 terabytes? I can't remember. Anyway, so that's one way to go. So that's the easiest way, especially if you're using iOS devices, because then anything you save, so anything you've got here in your files, so if we go to my Files app, anything in iCloud Drive, all of my GarageBand stuff, all my Studio Live Today stuff, it's all backed up. I don't have to worry about it. It's all there as well. There's other ways to go. You can use Dropbox. You can use Google Drive. You can use any number of different cloud storage platforms. But the important thing is, have it in more than one place. Now, you could argue that the cloud automatically does that. So the cloud actually has your stuff there, and quite often you'll have it on your device and in the cloud. That is still 2 places. And even worst case scenario, you delete it from your device and it's still in the cloud. Guess what? The cloud is a heck of a lot safer than your own computer or your own USB drive, because they have redundant storage. Like every cloud service in the world, even if something goes wrong, they've got it on at least 2 places. So you can kind of shortcut, you can kind of cheat by having it on a couple of different places. There you go. That's my view on that one. Let's come in here and see what other folks are doing. So Raz says, my backup strategy is all over the place. Some things are in more than one place, some things aren't, and almost none of it's organized. And look, you know what? It's fine. I've been that way too. I had a USB drive full of old video files that were obtained in ways that were definitely okay. So I had that back in the day, and they were only on that USB drive. A couple of years ago, I plugged in that USB drive and went, I wonder if all this old stuff's still on here. And it went click, 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 and it failed. And you know what? I went, okay, that's gone. And the reason that was okay is because I didn't need those things. They weren't important to me. All of my documents, all of my song files, all of my GarageBand projects, they are important to me because they're creative things. They're things I've created. They're my art. So I want to make sure. So again, if you're going to back up, just like you'd back up your documents file, back up your artistic documents files, back up your GarageBand, back up your songs, your movies, your videos, all the rest of it. Joe says, yes, I do constantly in the cloud because you told me to. See, Joe's doing well because I've lectured on this a few times now. The reason I lecture on it so much is that I get maybe on average 2 to 3 emails a week or messages from people that are like, I just deleted my blur and I don't have it. How do I get it back? And I always have to answer, have you backed it up anywhere? And the answer is, of course, no. So I just want to avoid people having that. I want to avoid having those horrible conversations where I have to say, have you backed it up? And they say, no. So yeah, please back up. Tom says, I trust iCloud way too much. I really need better physical copies. Yeah. I'm the same. I do trust iCloud. And look, things can go wrong with the cloud. When I said before the cloud's pretty good, it is until it's not. So if you have cloud storage, I would recommend a couple of things. Keeping another copy is good on another device or another drive, like a second backup that's not in the cloud, because if you don't pay your bill or something goes wrong, there's a data breach, things can go wrong. And the other thing is two-factor authentication, TFA or 2FA. The reason you want that is if someone gets hold of your Apple ID, let's just say that you have a pretty dodgy password. Your password's pencil, like in war games. Your password's pencil, and someone logs into your iCloud account, guess what? They can go in, they can delete your devices, they can delete your backups, they can delete your files. And it's actually happened to someone. About 5 years ago, there was a tech journalist who had all of his baby photos licensably backed up from his iPhone, all backed up to his iCloud account. Guess what? Someone, just to be a DICK, decided to hack his account. Got in, deleted every photo, all of his baby photos. That's pretty devastating, yeah? You don't want to do that. You don't want to lose that stuff. So don't have it in one place. Have it in somewhere you can control if possible, or at least have it backed up to the cloud. Yes, cloud is just density of vapor. True. And the cloud isn't, here's a weird thing. I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, I'm bad at backing up. I have a backup drive, but it's not up to date. And you know what? Just keep trying. Just do the best you can. We're all just trying to do the best we can with this stuff. Bubba said, pre-cloud, I was responsible for clients evolving data and used to bring backups home on SideQuest disks. Wow. In case the plant burnt down. Not kidding. Yeah, so I've got a story that I'll tell in a minute, maybe, if we get to it. We've got some more comments. Yeah, Brad says, this is the part I really need to listen to. I'm terrible with backing up. It's a consequence, yeah. And that's it. Sometimes it just happens. Google Drive gives you 15 gig free. Yep, pretty much everywhere in the world, they give 15 gig. I think Dropbox give you maybe 2 or 3 gig. There's a definitely places you can go with. I have a question regarding backup copies. Can there only be one master disk or copy? If I create a copy and the original file got destroyed, would that backup become the master? Yeah, basically. When you're in the digital realm, copies are exactly the same. So we don't have to worry. Like back in the day, you don't have to worry about, your master tapes, because that was literally the best quality master that came straight off the mastering press. That was your master. And a copy of that would lose quality because you're in the analog world. Digital domain, your copies are exactly as good as your masters, the original ones. So yeah, absolutely fine. Night Frigsy, yep, I know it's early morning, late night over there. So yes, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Can hard drives get old? Mine is from 2007-ish. I'm afraid it will just stop working one day. Yes, they do, and they will. So my story that I just shared, hopefully that encourages you to maybe get, to change that and have a second hard drive. I know it's all cost, but how important is having your data? So I would consider that, especially if it's a spinning hard drive. Those disks will just deteriorate over time, and as soon as you hear that click of death in a hard drive, it's all over. It's all gone. So not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this hopefully to motivate you to go off and start thinking about. The penguin doesn't back up anything. Penguins don't back things up. My laziness exceeds all. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, anything definitely with your drives, they will get old. And the same with CDs. If you've got everything on CD-ROM, DVD-ROM, there's a thing called disc rot. They're just pieces of plastic, remember, at the end of the day. And your hard drives, especially if they've been stored where they've been too humid or too dry, like different conditions can have different effects on that. So be very careful of that. And Gustafet says, I've heard if you load your photos to Google Drive this month, then you can save unlimited with it. Yeah, so Google Drive has a whole bunch of pretty cool things. Unlimited storage for photos, I believe. Not for music and video and stuff, but for photos. Raz says, funny you mentioned the movie drive, because I have one like that too. Don't worry, we've all done it. Mine broke too. I think everyone's had that at various stages, my nefarious past of having various things. But yeah, I stopped all of that, legitimately stopped everything. Now, the worst thing I do is the grey stuff, which is the using services that geographically I'm potentially not supposed to be. So it is not illegal, but some may say I'm breaching terms of service by using services that are not available in Australia, because these companies are stupid and don't want to sell me stuff that I want to pay money for. So yes, there's that. As Derek said, Time Machine for Mac is wonderful. Exactly. Do it now. I've got a problem, Derek. I bought an external hard drive and I tried to put Time Machine on it, but it said this drive has to be just formatted for Time Machine. So I'm like, oh crap. So I need a separate drive for Time Machine by the look. So I need to just get one. To be honest, I've only got a 256 gig Mac Mini. So everything that's on that internal drive, I'll be able to Time Machine to a flash drive. So I really just need to buy a flash drive, plug it in, set up Time Machine and go. So there you go. I've been motivated by you as well. There you go. You can, yeah, I probably need to learn. I need to do that. I used to know how to do all this stuff on Windows. I used to know how to partition. I used to know how to set up drives and drive letters and all sorts of stuff. Not so much anymore. Not so much. Let's move on. What have we got? 20 minutes left in the show, and as you can tell, my voice is starting to go. So that is all I wanted to talk about. Backing up. Let's talk about our next segment. Welcome to the book club. I didn't put a thing here. I need to do that. Let me just pretend that we haven't started that yet. This is all just a work in progress. Let's go to the book club. Try that again. Here's my theme music. Book club. It's the book club. Read a book. Pete, that was the worst theme music ever. I'm sorry. It's my first time. Actually, no, it's my second time. So what are we going to talk about? Well, I want to bring you some reading material. Each week, we're going to feature a new book. And again, when we have some guests on here, they can bring one of their books. And eventually, we will get a library of books and we can have the whole Studio Live Today book club of things that people should read that's going to help you with your creativity. And the first one is pretty obvious for folks who know me and know how much I love this dude. But it's got to be a book from Mr. Gary Vaynerchuk. Yep, there it is. Link down in the description if you want to check it out. Crushing It, How Great Entrepreneurs Build Their Businesses and Influence, and how you can too. Now, here's the thing. Gary Vaynerchuk, some people love him, some people hate him. He's a bit of a figure that can divide people, and he also takes a little bit of getting used to because he's a Jersey boy, he's pretty crass, he tells it like it is. But if you get past that, if you read between the lines, the advice and the information he gives out is absolutely timeless and really high quality. And the reason I say that is that the first book I read of his was one called Crush It, which is this one here, which you can also pick up. So this was written, what year? 2009. So to give you an idea, like a lot of the platforms we use right now, there was no TikTok. Instagram was just starting and it was just for sharing photos. And there were still some things in there that were not not what we do today. But all of it holds up. You can read that today and the strategies are still the same because it's all about creating, documenting what you're doing, creating content, and then sharing that content with the world. Now, again, I would recommend probably reading the more recent one, which is this one here, Crushing It. It's got similar content, but it's a bit updated. It's a bit more modern. And again, if you don't know Gary Vaynerchuk, his main thing is that the measurement of success should be about happiness, not about the numbers. So he's similar to me. All the ranting I do about vanity metrics, he's very much the same. All the ranting I do about measuring yourself based on what makes you happy and doing the right thing. It has been criticized for the whole hustle culture. So if you know about the hustle culture, it's like, yeah, everyone just work hard and hustle and work 18 hours a day and then you'll be able to do everything. I don't agree with that side of it. And I don't think he does anymore either. But I do agree with a lot of what he has to say. And the whole concept of document instead of create is what I think that a lot more artists should be doing. I think if you're a creator, then documenting your creations, documenting your experience with what you're doing is awesome. Some of my favorite creators and some of the best YouTube channels and some of the best people that I know that are sharing their information are documenting their journey. They're just talking about what's going on with them. Because guess what? If you're you, there are a heap of other people like you. When I started Studio Live Today, I started it going, I wanted to do this because there weren't a heap of GarageBand tutorials and there wasn't a heap of information for people like me that have been out of the music industry for 20 years and were getting back into it. A lot of stuff had a whole bunch of assumed prior knowledge. A lot of stuff looked down on things like using your phone or your iPad to record music. And I just didn't dig. I didn't gel with that. And I'm like, there's got to be someone for me. And at that time, 6 years ago, there really wasn't. Like, there were cool people out there, like Patrick Baird, the GarageBand Guide. He was doing cool stuff, but it was not exactly the stuff that I wanted. And I thought, well, if it doesn't exist, I'm going to create it. And I was talking about another creator the other day who we were chatting about, and he's a creator that is getting into recording music. He's been a gigging musician. He's an amazing musician. He says, hey, I'm an old hippie and I'm getting into creating music and doing it in the home studio. Here's the thing though, he's got a perfect niche there. There are so many people that would be in that exact same, especially the last year. Do you know how many people are in exactly that niche? Just there. So again, bring it back to the relevance of what we're talking about. The reason I like Gary Vaynerchuk is that he just says that document. Don't create. Don't put the pressure on yourself that you have to create, because creation, it just comes from documenting what you're doing and from sharing. Again, a lot of us get worried about, am I sharing enough? Am I oversharing? Am I saturating the platforms? Am I tying in with the algorithms? It's like, you know what? Just keep going. He calls them at-bats. I call them unlimited retries. So it's like a video game. You've got unlimited credits to just keep doing things. And the thing is, if you try one thing and you fail, you're a failure, right? Makes sense. If you try 10 things and 2 of them go well, you're a success. Yes, despite what your teachers told you at school, 2 out of 10 is actually an amazing success rate. I wish more people would educate on that, to say that trying different things and working out what doesn't work, just as important as working out what does. Get it? Got it? Good. Fail. Failure. Mistakes make you better. Fail and fail fast. Alrighty, let's move on. QB says, I don't care about the algorithm. Whatever happens, happens. Absolutely. Very good. Let's come over and jump into the next one. Where are we? Jeff Brush says, I would have to really up my book reading game for my current 1 book per decade. Yes, Tom, Fail Harder. Tom has a really good channel called Fail Harder. A really good channel, really good song. It's getting to that time, folks. We're winding down, aren't we? We have to wind down. All right, let me check my topics list. If anyone has any questions before we go, by the way, speak now or forever hold your peace, because we will be finishing off very soon. But if you do have a question, you got time. All you need to do is pop the word question in front of your comment, throw it down below. And if you're watching on the replay, by the way, don't stress, don't fret. You can leave your questions down in the comments. I'm there, like I said at the start, for at least an hour or 2 every day. I answer every question if I can that comes in there. Don't be surprised if the answer is a handle that says, go check out the Create, Record, Release Facebook group, or go check out the GarageBand users group. And in fact, if you are new to the channel and you're new to the show, let me just show you the places to go. So if you are a GarageBand user, which I know many of you are, do make sure that you are here, because as it says there, real people, real music. The GarageBand users Facebook group is an excellent place for all of your GarageBand needs. So go over there and join the fun there. If you are more into your generic creating side, oh look, there's that guy. Come over to Create, Record, Release. You can just go to createrecordrelease.com. We got nearly 800 of the Studio Live Today community there. Got people there that will collaborate with you, that will answer questions, that will just have a general chat and a yarn about music and creativity and what's going on. So do join the community. Is Basil still over there? You right, dude? He hasn't moved. I don't think he's moved the entire time. I'll have to get him over here for the end of the show. Maybe he can be part of the show each week. Where was our final topic? Where's my banners? There we are. Oh, I've lost it. Well done, Pete. Righty. Okay. I want to talk about this. I ranted on this briefly. Now, I get accused of using clickbait titles from time to time. Not very often, because, to be honest, I am desperately conscious not to. Because, again, I think people can misconstrue clickbait as just telling you something exciting that's going to happen in the video. And then it does. That's not clickbait. What clickbait is saying something in a thumbnail or a title of a video, and then you watch the video and it doesn't deliver on that. Or using something like, I can't believe this happened. And it's a picture of the person like this. I can't believe this happened. And they're like this. And you're like, I wonder what. I can't click. Like, it's clickbait. It wants you to click it without giving you information about the video. And then it's like, I can't believe this happened. It's the worst thing ever. We've got a new sponsor. It's NordVPN. Yeah. Sorry. I shouldn't have used a real name. It's VPN company. But yeah, they're the sort of things I don't like. And there's a particular genre that's been See, I'm getting all choked up. There's a particular clickbait genre lately that is the whole fake I'm leaving. And it's similar to the whole I can't believe this happened. But it's it's usually a picture of someone like this with a really stern, serious face. And they're like, my final YouTube video. And you're like, oh, wow, I can't believe blah is quitting YouTube. Or I quit. And it's just them like, I quit. And then they're like, I quit. And you're like, what? Wow, this is amazing. And then you watch the video and you realize that it's like, I quit smoking last week. Is everyone happy for me? And it's like, oh, dude, that's not cool. So, yeah, I wonder if you've got stories. Do you feel passionate like I do? Do you dislike clickbait as much as I do? Or is it part and parcel? Is it just where we're at now? Because I watch my children, and my goodness, if you think there's clickbait in the whole creative music video kind of world, once you get into the preteen targeted toy type videos, and at the moment it's these fidget toys. Everyone's using these fidget toys. The clickbait is strong in those ones. So is it just something that we have to live with? Is it something that you get annoyed by, or do you just walk past it? And if you've had a clickbait experience, do you punish them? Have you unsubscribed? Excuse me. I'm clearly at the end of the show here. Have you unsubscribed? Have you disliked? Have you left comments about people when you've had clickbait situations? I'd like to hear. So if you're here live, let me know now. If not, then let us know down in the comments. Would love to hear what you say. Sean was talking about on the last topic with the success ratio. I have a question though. If I can play a B7 B9 manually, but how do I input B7 B9 B7 flat 9 on the custom edit chords on the chord strips mode? I'll try and address that in a minute. I'll try that. I'll see if we can do that. Thank you, Raz. First time visiting, been sub for a while, but it's my first time showing up for a stream. Excellent. Glad you had a great time. Yeah, we always have fun. Yeah, the one amazing trick pro producers don't want you to know. Oh, mate, when you're in those news articles and you go down the bottom and it's like, this one weird trick that reduces body fat in 7 days, or doctors are racing to get this drug removed, or this special elixir removed. It's like, it irritates me more than it should. Again, old man yells at cloud. Yep, that's me. But, 10 things you must do to your mix. So, I mean, and maybe I'll watch that. Yeah, watch until the end. Producers hate him. Yep. And plot twist, it's just some guy in a grocery store inspecting fruit. I love it. Very cool. Mark says, I always dislike when people take me for a fool. Yeah. Yeah. More messages online than words have spoken in real life. Yeah. Bubba's B, D sharp, F sharp, A, B flat is the B7 flat 9. Yeah, we'll have a look at that in chord. So yeah, feel free to leave vent your spleen about clickbait if you want to. But yeah, let's try and answer this one for Sean Rose. We need to jump back over to our iPad, which we have not there, but there. Here it is. Let's create a new track. So this is why I get in trouble, because I just keep jumping in here and creating these new My Song tracks that I use for a demonstration. Oh, there we go. What is this track? This looks cool. Let's play it. What does it do? Oh, it's the Tetris theme. I'm like, I don't remember doing this song. Maybe we won't use that. Let's just go to a new one. Ideas, create song. All right, so we're going to the chord strips mode, and it may just be that it's not possible. Not every chord can be created. So if you've not used this before, let's go away from the French horn. Let's just go with one of my favorite keyboards over here, the standard electric piano. A bit of a Rhodes sound going on. We'll turn it up and ooh, that's a nice little chord. All right. So as you may be aware, you're here, you've got your notes. You can play straight there. You can also go to chord strips mode, and here you can play your chords, and you've got your 4 inversions of your chords there, and your bass notes. So you can play a chord here, like up here, with a different bass note, right? So you can play your G chord there. But if you want the C on the bass, you can do that. So how do you edit your chords? Well, you go into your settings here and you go to, funnily enough, edit chords. and you get to actually put it in here. So what were we looking to get here? A B7 flat ninth chord. B7 flat ninth chord. Is that even a chord? Bubba says it is. So we go B there. We scroll this one until we get to the, it's B. B major it would be for this one. B major, 7th. Flat ninth. Yeah, so I don't think you could do the double up. So if you went B major 7th, B7, and then it depends what you put, B flat. Is that what we wanted on the bottom? I don't think that's it. I'm not sure. I haven't played around with a lot of this because, yeah, basically what you get here in GarageBand, you get your letter, which is, of course, the letter of the chord. You can then have major, minor, diminished, sustained, augmented, etc. And then you can have your 6th, 7th, major, 9th, add 9, 9, 11th, 13th, which is your additional note there. And then you can have your bass dialed in as well. So I don't think we can do exactly what the chord is that you're talking about there. But if there is a way, someone here in the community is going to know about it. Let's just make it this chord. What is this chord going to do? That's a cool chord. This would be a good chord to have on autoplay. Sorry, you're still here. Sorry, I was just grooving on some chords. So, yeah, the short version is I'm not sure because GarageBand only has a certain level of chord customizability. So you probably just have to put the there or thereabouts chord and then maybe play around with it. Because don't forget, I'll show you the practical side of this. We'll remove that. We'll remove that clickbait. Sorry, what I did there. So the practical side of this is, say we were to record in this part. Really cool sequence. Autoplay 2 on the electric piano. Who knew? That's funky. Maybe we should create that. Maybe next week's show we'll create a theme song for this show. Let's just loop it up just because we want it to be tidy. So all you need to do is you can come in here to the edit mode. So if you can't get all the notes you want, as Bubba was saying there, you can actually come in here and edit and just change the notes to whatever note you want. So in case, instead of that note, if you wanted that to be, you want it to be that note, you just have to come in here and change all these. So you can get it close to the chord you want, and then come in here to your editor, and then you can get a... Oh, that's even cooler. Back to the high bit. That's so cool. Sorry, I'm getting excited now. I might have to go make some music, because I've been talking about music long enough. I should go make some, yeah? So yeah, I don't think we completely solved for that, but hopefully we got close to there. Yeah, a bit of impromptu grooving, absolutely. So we got folks talking about a different one. And Bubba says, "Whoops, not a B flat, last note C." There you go. So all you need to do is basically go in, get it close to the chord you want, and then edit it and put the different ones in there. So there you go. There's an option for you. Sounds like Supertramp. Okay. No half diminished chords either. Yeah, so just put a diminished chord on there and then just change one of the notes if you want to create other things. You can do that. You can manually manipulate it. There you go. You have to input manually in the piano roll. Exactly. But if you want a shortcut to having to manipulate it and add it all in separately, you can just go in there, put it in there, and then go back there. Cool. Alrighty. There was suspension in there, was there? Nice. Okay, I like it. Very cool. All right. There you go. You can copy this and make your own thing. Go your hardest. You know what? I'm not worried about copy. Maybe next week we need to talk about copyright. Maybe that would be a good copyright and content ID. Maybe I'll put that on the list here now for next week. And if you do have, by the way, if you're watching here and you have topic ideas, I get all my ideas from you. So everything that you talk about, everything you ask me about, that all goes into my brain, but more importantly, into my document here, that is the planning document for the next show. So yeah, please do keep the ideas coming, keep asking questions, keep providing feedback and information. QB says, these tiny chord ideas you show on stream are sometimes the basis for some of my songs. There you go. To know that I've inspired the penguin. That's a pretty cool thing. Let's see if we can get Basil over here to finish the show. Basil! Come here, bud. Come here. He's not having a bar of it. Basil. No? Come here. Come on. Come on. Come over here. Come on. Come here. Come on down. Come here, buddy. Oh, he's not coming to me. He thinks I'm going to put him out. All right. He thinks I was going to put him outside. But we haven't had a Basil sighting on the show for a while. So we're going to say wave goodbye. He's not too happy about this. I'll go and take you for a little walk now, okay? It's all right. It's going to be fine. All right, folks. On behalf of my co-host today, which has been Basil, he's like, why did you wake me up for this? I was very happily sleeping on the couch. But yeah, thank you for being here. If you do have any comments, if you've been watching this one on the replay, please do throw those down in the comments below. And if you would like to, give the thumbs up. If you had some fun here today, you may do that as well. We will be back tomorrow because we've got the extra edition of... Oh, he's not happy, is he? We've got the extra edition of Your Music Live happening tomorrow. So please do join me for that. That'll be at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. No, 9 p.m. now. Oh, no, it's 1 p.m., 4 p.m. Just check it. It's 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. now, isn't it? But the UK haven't gone, so it's still 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean. Something like that. I'll be here anyway. We'll be listening to tunes. We'll be taking a listen to some of the coolest independent tunes, and we do all of that thanks to our sponsor, DistroKid. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Remember what we say every time. Well, he really doesn't want to be here. Be nice to yourself, be nice to your pets and all the people in your life, and keep creating. I'll catch you soon, creators.